You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. The delivery domain focuses on the disciplined transformation of prioritized intent into reliable, observable outcomes. Its orientation is to show how planning, execution, verification, and release come together as one continuum of flow. Unlike traditional project structures that break work into silos of requirements, build, and test, the delivery mindset emphasizes continuous evolution guided by evidence. Teams that master delivery balance speed with safety, ensuring that every increment is releasable, supportable, and aligned to organizational priorities. Delivery is not simply about getting things done. It is about producing outcomes that are valuable, compliant, and sustainable. This requires combining cadence with responsiveness, automation with human judgment, and governance with proportionate control. The domain highlights how practices such as right-sizing increments, embedding quality up front, and using observability to guide learning turn intent into dependable, trustworthy change. Delivery scope defines the work not as isolated stages, but as a single continuum that begins with planning and extends through execution, verification, and release. In this model, decisions are not final checkpoints, but living adjustments informed by evidence. For example, planning may produce initial increment goals, but execution reveals risks or user signals that refine scope on the fly. Verification confirms outcomes while informing future backlog choices, and release itself generates telemetry that feeds the next cycle. Viewing delivery as a continuum reduces the friction of handoffs and prevents gaps where intent is lost. It also builds adaptability, as each step is integrated with the others rather than locked in a rigid sequence. This scope reframing makes delivery a dynamic, evidence-driven flow, rather than a collection of disconnected stages. Outcome focus ensures that every increment is judged by its impact, not by the volume of activity. Work is selected and accepted only when it contributes directly to user benefit, risk reduction, or compliance attainment. For example, a feature is not declared done because the code compiles or tests pass. It is done when users complete tasks more easily, incidents decline, or an audit objective is met. This focus shifts the team's energy away from throughput alone and toward meaningful change. It also protects against feature factory anti-patterns where success is measured by the number of items delivered. By anchoring delivery to outcomes, organizations reinforce accountability and prevent wasted effort. Done becomes synonymous with improved experience, reduced risk, or fulfilled obligations, not just motion for its own sake. Cadence and flow bring rhythm and predictability to delivery, while preserving responsiveness. Cadence means establishing regular planning, review, and reflection cycles so stakeholders know when alignment will occur. Flow emphasizes pulling work based on readiness and capacity, preventing overload. Together, cadence and flow stabilize throughput, reduce variability, and improve forecasting. For example, a team might plan every 2 weeks but execute daily pulls within that framework, balancing predictability with flexibility. This approach creates a steady tempo, where surprises are absorbed without chaos. Cadence reassures stakeholders that progress will be visible on schedule, while flow ensures that work starts only when it can realistically finish. The combination fosters resilience and reduces thrash, making delivery both structured and adaptive. Thin end-to-end slices are the delivery building blocks. By reducing batch size and shaping increments that cut through all layers, validation becomes faster, risk exposure shrinks, and learning latency drops. Instead of bundling massive features into single releases, teams deliver narrow but coherent slices, such as a single workflow or a simple interface tied to back-end logic. For example, delivering just the reset password via email feature provides immediate value, validates security design, and reveals adoption data. Each thin slice is releasable, observable, and instructive. This strategy turns delivery into a sequence of experiments where outcomes are tested quickly, Smaller slices accelerate feedback, enabling faster decisions and safer adjustments. They also build trust with stakeholders, who see value emerge continuously rather than waiting for big bang deliveries. Work-in-process limits keep delivery sustainable by capping how much is started concurrently. Too many parallel efforts cause context switching, increase cycle time, and leave increments aging in progress without finishing. By limiting concurrent work, teams increase finish rates and overall quality. For example, a team may decide no more than 3 items can be in development at once, ensuring attention is focused. Visualizing WIP and enforcing limits also makes bottlenecks visible, prompting swarming to finish stuck work. This discipline may feel restrictive, but it accelerates overall delivery by reducing waste. WIP limits embody the principle that finishing is more valuable than starting, protecting predictability and morale, while increasing stakeholder confidence in outcomes. Definition of done encodes expectations so that increments are not merely functional but releasable and supportable. It includes quality standards, security checks, accessibility requirements, and operability provisions. For example, a story is not complete until automated tests pass, accessibility thresholds are verified, and logging is in place. By embedding these requirements, teams prevent done from being declared prematurely. The definition of done becomes the shared contract between teams and stakeholders, ensuring that every increment meets standards of safety, usability, and maintainability. It also reduces last-minute heroics, as requirements are met continuously rather than bolted on. Done means truly ready for release, protecting credibility and reducing escaped defects. Continuous integration and continuous delivery, or CI/CD, automate, build, test, and promotion pipelines so that increments flow quickly and safely from code to production. Each commit triggers automated validation, shrinking the feedback loop and minimizing error windows. For example, integration tests may run within minutes of a change, confirming compatibility across systems. Delivery automation reduces reliance on manual steps, which are slow and error-prone. It also increases release frequency, making increments smaller and easier to reverse if problems occur. CI/CD reflects the delivery philosophy of fast, safe learning. By embedding automation, teams create confidence that every change can move to production reliably. It accelerates outcomes while preserving quality. Telemetry and observability make increments measurable at the point of change. Instead of waiting for downstream signals, instrumentation captures logs, events, and metrics as soon as increments are deployed. This transparency surfaces issues early and validates benefits directly. For example, telemetry might confirm that login errors decreased after a new flow launched, or observability might reveal hidden latency under load. By designing increments with observability built in, delivery ensures that learning is immediate and actionable. Observability turns every release into a feedback opportunity, closing the loop between hypothesis and outcome. It protects against blind spots, where defects or value shortfalls would otherwise linger unnoticed. Risk and impediment management in delivery becomes proactive by embedding assumption tracking, early indicators, and dependency health directly into artifacts. Instead of treating risks as separate reports, teams visualize them alongside backlog items in boards. For example, a card might note risk, vendor API stability, next check, response time monitoring. This integration keeps risks visible and manageable during daily flow. Early indicators prompt mitigation before failures occur, while dependency health ensures sequencing remains realistic. By embedding risk management into delivery routines, organizations transform it from bureaucratic reporting into active problem solving. This approach makes resilience a property of normal work, not an exceptional activity. Release strategies in delivery decouple deployment from exposure. Techniques like feature flags, staged rollouts, and canary releases allow teams to put increments into production safely without immediately exposing them to all users. For example, a feature flag might enable new functionality for internal testers while leaving it hidden from customers until validated. Canary releases rollout features to a small cohort, generating high-quality signals before full launch. These strategies limit blast radius and make rollback easier. By embedding release control into delivery, organizations learn quickly without gambling stability. It reinforces the principle that every increment should be both testable and reversible. Cross-team coordination ensures that distributed work assembles into functioning systems. Delivery at scale often requires multiple teams working on interconnected features. Coordination aligns interfaces, sequencing, and integration cadence. For example, a team building an API must deliver in sync with another team developing the consuming interface. Regular integration points and shared planning prevent drift. Coordination also reduces friction by clarifying responsibilities and dependencies early. By embedding these practices, delivery scales predictably, ensuring that distributed work produces coherent systems rather than fragmented parts. Coordination transforms complexity into managed collaboration, keeping flow smooth across boundaries. Compliance by design integrates governance into normal delivery workflows. Instead of pausing delivery for separate audits or document trails, approvals, traceability, and retention are captured continuously. For example, compliance evidence may be logged automatically with each increment, linking to definitions and acceptance criteria. This approach avoids stop-start governance that slows progress and erodes morale. Compliance by design ensures that obligations are met as part of the work, not as a burden afterward. It reinforces that trustworthy delivery includes legal and regulatory adherence. By embedding compliance into artifacts and automation, organizations maintain agility while protecting accountability. Remote and distributed practices adapt delivery to modern realities where teams are rarely co-located. Written context, shared artifacts, and concise live touchpoints replace reliance on hallway conversations. For example, decision records may be published in shared repositories, while live sessions focus only on clarification. Remote delivery depends on artifacts that are accessible, searchable, and inclusive of different time zones. By designing for distributed work, organizations maintain tempo and cohesion regardless of geography. This adaptation prevents transparency gaps and ensures equity across locations. Delivery becomes not only efficient but also inclusive, ensuring participation and alignment everywhere. Anti-pattern awareness protects delivery from common pitfalls that undermine value. Large batches delay validation and increase risk. Status theater creates the illusion of progress without evidence of outcomes. Quality shortcuts may speed apparent delivery, but inflate rework and degrade trust later. These anti-patterns are tempting under pressure but always costly in the long run. By naming and avoiding them, organizations reinforce discipline. Delivery succeeds not when work looks fast, but when outcomes are delivered reliably, safely, and sustainably. Anti-pattern awareness keeps teams aligned to principles of small, testable, releasable increments, supported by automation and evidence. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Planning and delivery connects increment goals to a set of ranked slices, ensuring that scope is both realistic and coherent. Instead of overloading cycles with too many items, planning emphasizes capacity realism, selecting only a few slices that directly advance the agreed outcome. Each selected item is supported by acceptance criteria, risks, and telemetry notes so that execution is clear. To maintain flexibility, planning also identifies if time remains options, which can be pursued without jeopardizing the core goal. This approach balances focus with adaptability, reducing the risk of thrash or wasted effort. By treating planning as the act of curating slices around outcomes, rather than stuffing a backlog into a sprint, delivery achieves predictability. Planning becomes a disciplined practice where intent, capability, and evidence all align, ensuring that the team works on the right things in the right order. Monitoring and control extend beyond traditional status reporting by tying attention to outcome signals, flow stability, and risk thresholds. Instead of chasing vanity metrics, delivery relies on indicators that reveal whether progress is healthy and aligned. For example, cycle time distributions may be reviewed weekly to confirm that increments are flowing predictably, while adoption telemetry is checked to ensure benefits are emerging. Risk thresholds, such as acceptable error rates, act as triggers for proportionate responses, preventing small problems from escalating. Control in this sense is not about micromanagement, but about proactive stewardship, where evidence informs interventions. By monitoring in real time and adjusting with discipline, delivery maintains momentum without heavy-handed oversight. This makes progress transparent and trustworthy, reassuring stakeholders that flow is both visible and under control. Incident handling in delivery emphasizes stabilization first, then transparent learning. When problems occur, the priority is to restore service quickly, minimizing disruption. However, once stabilized, teams conduct open reviews that document causes, contributing factors, and preventative measures. For example, a production outage may lead to the creation of new automated tests, additional monitoring hooks, and backlog items that strengthen resilience. By treating incidents as learning opportunities rather than sources of blame, organizations build long-term robustness. Publicly sharing findings fosters trust and prevents the same issues from recurring. Delivery excellence is demonstrated not by avoiding all failures but by recovering rapidly and transforming them into improvements. This proactive, learning-oriented stance ensures that incidents contribute to systemic reliability rather than being repeated crises. Learning loops institutionalize continuous improvement within delivery. Retrospectives, triggered reviews, and regular reflection sessions provide structured opportunities to convert observation into action. For example, a retrospective might reveal that WIP limits are too loose, prompting tighter constraints in the next cycle. A triggered review might occur when cycle times exceed a percentile threshold, leading to targeted process changes. These loops ensure that evidence consistently shapes future design, scope, and methods. By embedding them into cadence, improvement becomes habitual rather than optional. Learning loops also build psychological safety, as teams know that raising issues leads to constructive change. Delivery maturity is measured not only by steady outcomes, but also by the capacity to adapt and evolve continuously. Loops transform data into better practices, making delivery a living, adaptive system. Value stream orientation shifts delivery focus from isolated increments to the full journey of value creation. By examining lead times, handoffs, queues, and rework, organizations identify where delays and inefficiencies most affect outcomes. For example, analysis may show that approval bottlenecks consume more time than actual development, prompting governance changes. By seeing the stream end-to-end, teams target improvements with the highest leverage, avoiding local optimizations that do not improve overall flow. Value stream orientation reinforces that delivery is a systemic process, where delays in one part ripple across the whole. This perspective allows leadership to prioritize investments that reduce friction and accelerate outcomes at scale. By aligning improvements to the value stream, delivery achieves not just speed but coherence across the organization's full scope of work. Waste detection in delivery focuses on identifying queues, redundancy, and unnecessary processing while respecting evidence needs for safety and compliance. Not all overhead is waste. Audit logs and approvals may be necessary. The discipline lies in distinguishing between essential controls and processes that add no value. For example, duplicating manual status reports when dashboards already exist adds redundancy without benefit. Similarly, waiting weeks for sign-offs on low-risk changes creates waste that slows learning. By surfacing these inefficiencies, teams reduce drag and redirect capacity to value creation. Waste detection also fosters honesty, as it challenges organizations to ask whether rituals serve learning or simply persist out of habit. Delivery sharpens when waste is continuously pruned, making flow lean without sacrificing safety or trust. Iteration discipline balances short cycles with sustainable pace. Increments should move in small, reliable steps that allow frequent feedback and reduce risk. However, iteration discipline also means refusing to sacrifice quality or morale by overloading teams. Sustainable pace acknowledges that burned-out teams cannot deliver consistently, no matter how short the cycles. For example, teams may cap work at a level that ensures time for improvement, training, and recovery. By respecting sustainable pace, delivery creates predictable throughput over time rather than short bursts of unsustainable output. This discipline fosters trust, as stakeholders know that delivery can be counted on without hidden costs. Iteration discipline ensures that agility is genuine, built on rhythm and health, not on overextension. Data-driven decisions in delivery emphasize distribution-aware metrics and transparent caveats. Averages are avoided because they hide variability and outliers that matter most. For example, stating that most defects are resolved in 3 days is less useful than showing that 90% are resolved in under 5 days, but 10% linger for weeks. Distribution-aware reporting gives a more accurate picture of risk and performance. Delivery decisions are also presented with caveats, clarifying uncertainty and assumptions. This humility prevents false confidence and keeps choices honest. Data-driven does not mean blindly following numbers. It means using evidence responsibly to inform decisions. By embedding rigor into metrics and interpretation, delivery avoids vanity measures and focuses on what signals actually mean. Implementation hygiene ensures that every change is delivered with professionalism and safety. Practices such as maintaining environment parity, using ethical test data, and ensuring rollback readiness are applied not just to major releases but to every increment. For example, staging environments mirror production closely, preventing surprises at deployment. Test data respects privacy, ensuring that validation does not compromise trust. Rollback plans are rehearsed so that reversals are fast if problems arise. Hygiene may feel invisible when it works, but it prevents costly disruptions. By making these practices routine, organizations prevent corners from being cut under pressure. Implementation hygiene embeds resilience into the delivery process, ensuring that increments are reliable regardless of size or risk. Effectiveness reviews evaluate delivery by comparing observed outcomes against planned goals and assumptions. These reviews ask whether increments delivered the intended value, whether risks materialized, and what adjustments are required. For example, a review may find that adoption rose as expected, but that performance lagged, prompting additional work. Effectiveness reviews feed directly into planning heuristics, informing how future increments are sized, sequenced, or safeguarded. By systematically reviewing outcomes, delivery avoids complacency and continually sharpens its accuracy. These reviews also provide transparency to stakeholders, showing that results, not intentions, define success. Effectiveness reviews make learning explicit and ensure that strategy is updated with evidence. Governance right-sizing reimagines oversight as lightweight evidence checks that travel with the work rather than heavy gates that block progress. Instead of stopping delivery for separate approvals, governance is integrated into artifacts and pipelines. For example, automated checks for compliance, traceability, and risk are embedded into CI/CD. This approach preserves agility while maintaining accountability. Right-sized governance reduces delay while still producing audit-ready evidence. It reassures regulators and stakeholders without undermining flow. By aligning governance with delivery, organizations resolve the tension between agility and control. Oversight becomes proportional and embedded, protecting both speed and integrity. Vendor and partner coordination ensures that external contributors align with iterative delivery practices. Contracts, demos, and acceptance evidence are structured around shared cadence, not Big Bang releases. For example, vendors may be required to provide regular demonstrations and integrate with shared test environments. This coordination ensures that dependencies evolve smoothly, reducing the risk of last-minute surprises. By aligning external parties with internal delivery rhythms, organizations spread agility across the ecosystem. Vendor coordination reinforces that delivery is collaborative, requiring shared responsibility for both pace and quality. It ensures that external systems do not become bottlenecks, but instead integrate seamlessly into the flow of outcomes. Sustainability practices protect long-term delivery health. Monitoring workload balance, on-call fairness, and improvement capacity prevents reliance on heroics. For example, spreading on-call duties evenly and ensuring time is reserved for addressing technical debt keeps systems reliable without burning out individuals. Sustainability also means investing in automation and skill development to maintain efficiency. By embedding these practices, delivery ensures that speed does not come at the expense of resilience. Heroic efforts may impress temporarily, but they create fragility. Sustainable delivery, by contrast, creates confidence that outcomes can be produced consistently over time. This balance of pace and care demonstrates maturity, ensuring that delivery is both fast and durable. Success indicators provide tangible proof that disciplined delivery is working. These include faster learning cycles, steadier flow, fewer escaped defects, and higher stakeholder confidence. For example, shorter lead times confirm that increments are reaching users quickly, while lower defect escape rates show that quality standards hold. Stakeholder surveys may reveal increased trust in delivery promises, reflecting improved credibility. These indicators validate that delivery practices are not rituals but real enablers of performance. They close the loop by showing that disciplined flow, automation, observability, and proportionate governance translate into results. Success indicators demonstrate that delivery is not only about producing outcomes, but also about producing them reliably, sustainably, and visibly. Delivery synthesis emphasizes that disciplined practices, thin slices, automation, observability, sustainable pace, and proportionate governance form the structure that converts intent into dependable outcomes. Planning connects goals to coherent increments, while monitoring and learning loops ensure evidence shapes adaptation. Hygiene and governance protect quality and trust, while coordination and sustainability extend resilience across teams and ecosystems. The result is delivery that is fast, predictable, and aligned to outcomes. This synthesis reinforces that Domain 4 is not about speed alone, but about creating a delivery system that can be trusted to advance strategy continuously. Disciplined delivery transforms intent into value with integrity, adaptability, and consistency. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.